Hi everyone, I'm Angie Bailey,
And I'm Aurora Newton.
and we're Ask the A Team. And today we're talking about mountaintops and valleys in life. Yeah.
So before we were talking, Ange talked about her husband packing his backpack because he's a backpacker. So I really liked that. So why don't you just break that down for us?
Yeah, well, you have to know where you're going, right? What kind of terrain you're going to have, what kind of weather
So
you're
good.
going to be in. And so this is all metaphors for life, of course. But when you're going really long, if you're just going on a day hike, if you're going on a long trek, then your gear has to look different. It has to be really light if you're going to be on a long trek, because you don't want to carry those things, or you pack your bag accordingly. If it's a couple of days, you pack your heavier stuff on top, because you're probably going to use that
Right.
night, and
Yes, that's good.
you plan your journey out. And but that's like life. When you're going to go on a mountaintop, when you're in a high of life, when you're ascending that mountain, when you're taking it on, you have to have certain kind of gear, and that gear is people in your life speaking things, or maybe not certain people that don't speak the things that you need when you're ascending. Um, Scripture, um, other people's publishings, things that you need to be taking in and surrounding yourself with, and your own prayer life and your own devotion time and worship time. All of that is gear that you need to have with you. And so when you're in those highs in life, when you're on those mountaintops, it's important to remember those mountaintops when you're in that valley. Because the valley, sometimes needs very different gear. It needs very, very different things from you. You need to surround yourself with different things. You need to have different things available to you when you're in those seasons of life in your journey.
It's so true. It's so true. I was thinking about uh, some of the mountaintops that I've been on, and I love to go out to Colorado. And there's a certain point that you get to when you're in the mountains that the air really thins out and you have trouble breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that with just those mountaintops in life, that sometimes we get so excited and we're going up this mountain and we're rising, and we're getting to that top, and we can't breathe. Like, it's really hard to breathe.
Yeah.
And it's so important to have people around you that are life sustaining at that moment, and to remember that when we get to that high, because I've been at that, I'm so high, this is so great, but then boom, plummet to that valley, and don't take the time to really, like, come down the way that I need to, and just plummet into that valley. And that can be a depression. That can be a depressive time because you've been so high. So it really is important, Angie, when you said to surround yourself with the proper tools. I was thinking about a compass. We need to know what direction we're going in. Are we going straight up, or are we going to take a trek up? Are we going straight down, or are we going to take a winding path down? It's really important to have those tools to guide you and to move you along in that path. It's not a single journey. It's not an I love the thing, there's no I in team. You really have to have a team around you when you're going to try to ascend that mountaintop.
Absolutely. And even in what professionals recommend is not traveling alone. Letting others know where you're going to be. Every once in a while we'll hear of a story of somebody who, either gets off of their trail that they're supposed to be taking, or they've lost communication, or they never communicated at all of where they were going to be. And like, oh, I think maybe they went somewhere, or they're by themselves, or there's just two of them. And then they get lost, and the search teams don't know where to go. They don't know.
That's right.
And sometimes those stories, and very tragically, sometimes we have those miracles too of survival and how they did it. And so I think it's important to do that in life, is to let other people know where you're at. We even had recently in the news a popular band member of one of my favorite bands from early, in my younger years, just recently committed suicide. And when you don't know, when you don't communicate where you're at in your journey, it can get
True.
very dangerous, and you can veer from the trail. You can get off your path. And so I think that's really not only important to have the right gear and the right things, and the right skills, and life. And one of those fundamental, like 101 of any kind of journey, of any kind of backpacking or anything like that, is to communicate with others where you're at.
Absolutely, absolutely, and especially, I talked about depression in the valley, and obviously, he was going through some form of depression to want to take his own life. It's so important. Don't be ashamed to say, you know what, I'm struggling right now. I need help.
Yes.
I need help, because we want to go through the valley and we want to be able to climb the mountain. We want those seasons, but we also need help through those seasons sometimes. And don't be afraid to ask.
No. And when you're on that mountaintop, you really can't stay there. I think of move now.
Oh, yeah. One of our favorite expressions,
Yes,
move
now. What happens on the mountaintop can't stay on the mountaintop.
Thank you, Stephen Furtick.
Thank you,
We
Stephen
love you.
Furtick. We do love you. It can't stay there. And that's when we have our mountaintop experiences, right? What if Moses had just stayed up on the mountaintop?
Right.
We
Our life would
wouldn't have
look
had,
different.
yes, very much so. And so when we have those mountaintop experiences, find somebody in the valley and encourage them and saying, hey, it's coming. Or, hey, guess what? I realize you're in the valley, but do you know how close to a stream you may be? Like, you're close to something that's about to give you life. And you can be part of giving that life to somebody because you've just been on a mountaintop. So it's so important.
So
We can
good,
be
so
each
good.
other's gear. We really can.
Will you be my gear?
I will be your gear.
We love you guys. If this touched you in any way, please like and share us. Thank you for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.